Hi, you may be wondering why I am filming a professional academic presentation from my bathroom. Well, it's because I'm Shelby Rogala. I am pursuing a master's in adult education and training from Colorado State University, and this is week one of my AET journey. Let's see. I should capitalize every word in this citation title, right? Because, it's the title of the book. Diego, if one more audience member for our conference asks me to print slide deck notes for them, I am going to scream. Oh my God, look, Bailey, these students rated my presentation high. I must be such a good teacher. Oh, wait, but what about these students? They hated me? I'm an awful teacher? I should never present again? Oh no! Sal, sometimes it's really hard for me to hear that adults need to learn differently than kids. Also, what is an adult? I don't know. It just seems like all these presentations and so much of the adult learning I see is more about the teacher than the students. But maybe it's just because those presenters know more than me. I shouldn't say anything. I'm sure they know what they're doing and why, and I should just not worry about it. Hi, I'm Shelby, and this is me 1 month into my AET journey. No, girlies, we use sentence case. That's just basic APA. Diego, you don't have a learning style. Neurologically, we all learn the same. Well, I mean, not really you, but like learners, you know? Wait though, Bailey, this critical incident questionnaire developed by Brookfield and his exploration of authenticity and power in the classroom is really changing my understanding of how we connect with students and assess our roles as instructors. It's so fascinating. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you definitely know what I mean. Golly, it definitely seems like everyone in the learning environment should be afforded dignity, have the opportunity to connect learning to their own experience, and intentionally consider how this learning transfers to their goals. What do you think, Sal? Oh, so according to the philosophy of adult education inventory, I identify mostly with radical and progressive teaching philosophies. This means I prioritize learning spaces as an opportunity to connect with others, better understand ourselves, find joy, and help drive impact, whether that's with the work right in front of us or with broader change in the world. That makes a lot of sense for what spaces I'm drawn to and how I like to approach classroom. This is me 1 year into my AET journey. Go Rams! Oh, where did that best practice come from? Oh, not from a peer reviewed journal? Interesting. Maybe we should get kind of curious about where that best practice came from and whether or not it's going to be super effective. Diego, lecture style learning just isn't effective. Do you know what I mean? You know, Bailey, if we aren't building evaluation into the beginning of our instructional design process by considering the audience needs beforehand, what are we even doing? Taking time to develop both learning assessments and two-way feedback is so crucial to building a learning environment that makes sense for learners. But really, what are you even doing? Bring the ball back. I mean, Sal, when you really think about it, adult is a cultural construct that may not carry biological or psychological truths, but when adults opt to participate in learning, there are additional costs, which means we have to prioritize their time and prior knowledge in ways that make us better instructors. The variety of formal, informal, and non formal learning opportunities available in this world are so astounding, and the different values assigned to them are fascinating. We really never not be learning, you know? But there are so many ways we can help each other learn better, adults or non adults. Bailey, be free. I've been thinking a lot. We all should be free. It's not just the learning spaces that I'm directly involved in creating or participating in that deserve this care and attention towards adult learners. Really, liberatory ideology is central to creating multiracial and inclusive learning environments where everyone can thrive. And unfortunately, neoliberal ideologies prioritize productivity over humanity, and policies derived from these philosophies can often benefit capitalism as an economic system, again, over the learners in the classroom or the environment where they're trying to get their education or build their skills. So many of these organizations I know of that serve adult learners most in need are often underfunded, and meanwhile, the education gap continues to grow. How does my participation in the professional development industry further this gap, and what opportunities exist for me to change what I have control over? I don't know, Bailey, it's a lot. My name is Shelby, and this is me nearing the end of my AET journey at Colorado State University. Okay, maybe my citations are still a little bit of a mess, but at least I can use this book now. Diego, I've been thinking there are so many ways we can reach adult learners, and lectures are one way that can be paired with cognitive ways of learning to transmit information and inspire learners. Broadening our toolbox of teaching techniques to match learner expectations is part of building an impactful learning environment. Pairing that with our teaching philosophy and what comes naturally to us can help create authentic and meaningful learning experiences. You know what I mean? Just like how when you get pet in just the right way, you drool so much. Bailey, pre, during, and post learner assessment combined with two-way feedback is something we can do formally or informally and can be such a great way to ensure we are centering students. I know I won't always be able to do it perfectly, but I can internalize methods for considering my audience throughout the learning experience and help others I work with to do this as well. Being responsive to students requires us to deliberately check in with the student experience while establishing mutual accountability and trust, you know? Sal, I guess what I'm really trying to say here is that whether we are teaching adults or kids, highly educated and motivated learners, or people that aren't in the classroom by choice and associate learning environments with negative experiences, if instructors can see them as individuals on their own journey and invite reflection into the room, presenters at the very least can provide a corrective experience or maybe a joyful one. Not every learning seminar has to be transformational or lead to more internal integration or alignment for every learner, or even meet all of their goals for coming into the space. That's an unrealistic expectation. But we can try to create environments where participants are invited or challenged to become more active in their own learning experience, much like you are so active in being pet. Bailey, I really believe it's our duty as adult educators not only to work to create effective learning environments in the context we practice in, but also to consider how our actions shape a broader cultural and policy environment. Engaging thoughtfully and critically with workforce development policies, committees, and decisions is one way we can extend our practice beyond our own classrooms, and I feel pretty committed to that now. As you can see, my AET journey has been full of reflections, growth, and curiosity. My apologies for the absolutely classic millennial storytelling format of co opting an outdated meme, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Since my start in this program in spring of 2022, I have become more certain about some things and less certain of others. And I've had a through line of incredible experiences, instructors, peers, and furry friends throughout, as you can see. I entered the program with a goal of furthering my own learning and experience in adult education. I had a history as a ski instructor and clinician, teaching folks how to slide on snow and teaching instructors how to teach people to slide on snow, as well as my current role as a professional and organizational development director for a nonprofit association in Montana. Every single class I took was immediately applicable to my work at MNA, Montana Nonprofit Association, and it was such an incredibly fruitful experience and super rewarding. It's really hard to capture every thread in paper and discussion and class and person that impacted me because the long and short of it is that they all did. The themes of learning how to function in an academic environment again, understanding how adults learn and how teachers teach, why we even enter into learning environments at all, how we measure success, and how from the micro to the macro scale, it's so important to me that inclusion and justice are centered in adult education were central to my 2.5 years in this program. The works of Brookfield, Freire, Davis, and Arendt's Facilitating Seven Ways of Learning, Wegner's Communities of Practice, Bobby Harrow's Cycles of Oppression and Liberation, and Wadolowski and Ginsberg's Adult Motivations to Learn played central roles in my evolution as an educator and learner, and will remain super near my desk for future inspiration and citation. I entered this program uncertain and lacking confidence in my voice as an instructor and someone who works with other presenters and trainers, and really felt I found a lot more solid footing in how I approach my own teaching practice and how I can share what I know with others. I learned some things are preference and some really are better practice. Things like learning objectives, planning for learning transfer, pre and post session assessments, and pairing the right activities with the mode of learning are now non negotiable for me. I've also learned to take every learning event a bit less seriously, be okay with experimenting, and continue to be curious about how else we can find joy and connection in learning environments. I was so impacted by explorations of the history and philosophies behind adult and workforce education. I think one of the best examples of this is that early on in this program, I interviewed a local career training center that happened to be a nonprofit. And over the course of the program, when I went back during workforce education, philosophy of workforce education, they had closed. This was due to policy changes and funding and how WIOA and state funding was distributed here in Montana. It was pretty heartbreaking because I had been able to see up close what incredible services they provided for the community. Services now exported to a call center based somewhere else, and with no real like brick and mortar spot where adults can go to receive the care and services and affirmation they need. It reaffirmed for me how important a role policy plays in education. So, where am I now? Aside from no longer in my bathroom, I'm looking forward to my next steps in the field of adult education. After hopefully graduating in December, I look forward to using the spring to share out my portfolio and what I've learned with folks at work to help build better practices for our trainings and for those we host. This will be a big step for me as I think learning that I have something to share and having the praxis and the research to back it up means a lot. I also hope to continue to feel both more confident and curious as an educator, finding my voice while never letting it supersede the learners in the room. In 2025 or 2026, I hope to apply to serve on Montana's Workforce Innovation Board. We'll see how that goes. But I think that this process really affirmed for me that it is all of our roles as adult educators to play a role in the way that workforce development writ large happens in the communities we care about. I will also think about my next career steps, whether that is new opportunities in the nonprofit and philanthropic sector, or considering options in higher education, maybe even pursuing a PhD in adult education. Mostly, I feel super excited to continue applying the rigor, discipline, and passion shared with me throughout this program from my professors and peers in my work as an educator in Montana. I feel like I can take a long, deep exhale and relax into this more aligned and integrated version of Shelby that I was so fortunate to discover through this master's program. Thanks so much.